I am not at my studio and I'm recording this a day early. You know the tea is hot for this one. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is EJ Marino and this is About Last Night, the show where I talk about the movie I saw last night. We're going to be jumping in to my favorite weekly movie, as I've been dubbing it. Yes, I'm going to be talking about the season finale of American Horror Story Apocalypse.
American Horror Story Apocalypse.
Just want to address the pop vinyl in the room, if you will. I am not at my studio for this one. Might be doing it here just so I can bang these out, because just like this episode, if things happen immediately, I need to talk about it. Like this episode, the season finale of American Horror Story just made up for those last two meh episodes and truly saved this season from being a dud. And I honestly will go down saying American Horror Story Apocalypse is probably one of the best seasons of this entire show. The way this ended, the sick smile, the weird confusion on my face, this episode gave me all of everything. Like, when I'm like, oh, this is gonna happen, nope, that different thing happened. Every time I was like, oh, and now this is when the witches are gonna do great. Oh no, a giant monkey like wrenching their I don't know. Oh my god. Things happened in this episode that I cannot wait to dive into. So yes, I am uploading this a day earlier than I normally do. So if you have not seen this episode yet, a lot of people, only if you've had FX Plus, have seen this. But oh my god, if you have not seen this, stop right now, wait for it tonight when it airs, watch this with me on our normal Thursdays. But if you've seen this already, we're diving into it right now. Okay, so the episode begins and the first person I see is Venable, and I'm like, oh, I'm in for a good episode. You give me Venable, and then who strolls in? Myrtle, and I'm like, Venable and Myrtle shading each other, going at it. Yes, this episode starts off with Myrtle putting into play the coven's plan. They have this idea that they're going to figure out what Michael was doing. They found out about the nukes. They found out about the Outpost. So they decide to throw Coco and Mallory into the Outpost. As we know, that happens because that's where we started the season. So now we are finally figuring out how we got here. We figured out by the identity spell, which they mentioned in the actual wake-up moment. We just really had no context for the identity spell. So we now know everything. So Myrtle comes in, walks in, finds out about the Outpost, shades the hell out of Venable, and is like, oh honey, purple's for royalty and you're a goddamn servant. Click clack, Myrtle shades her, talks about her amazing hair, and then she runs into the robot bros and they try her, and Myrtle's like, you are lucky I cannot kill you. She's so angry she can't kill them. And I love that. I love this intro with Myrtle because this goes right into something that I'm like, oh, okay, the coven has a plan. Myrtle, we see the start of the plan going. And I'm like, cool, so we find out about the identity spell. We see the identity spell. We see a really good touching moment with the girls of the coven and just being like, okay, cool, so we're doing this. I'm gonna miss you, but I will remember you. What if this wouldn't have worked? They kind of brushed off the fact the witches survived the apocalypse, but if they wouldn't have, this would have been so crazy that Coco and Mallory would have been stuck in this weird outpost, in this weird life that's not themselves, if this plan didn't go it didn't go right, but right up until that point. That was so weird for me. So I feel them. I felt this scene. I really like this intro because I really liked when right before we turn around and Madison's like, oh yeah, by the way, Dinah sold some shit. We have to deal with her. Let's do this. But they're like, we're gonna have to wait to get rid of Dinah so Langdon doesn't figure out what the hell's going on. So Madison's like, but there is a plan in motion for that. I loved Madison. Whoever thought of the Marie Laveau plan, clap, clap, clap for you, because that is how you do that shit. So yeah, before I jump into the Marie Laveau, yes, she is in this episode. Once again, if you're spoiling yourself by watching my review first, you're getting Marie Laveau. I'll spoil that now. Jessica Lange's back up in this episode. Don't sleep on this one. This one really, really is strong. So right after we figure out the plan of like the Marie Laveau, we figure out about the identity spell, we cut straight to episode 3, I believe, when Mallory and Langdon first went at each other. Really thought that was kind of cool to see, and like I just kind of now seeing some of the scenes, because then once again we go to the Madison, Myrtle, and Cordelia showing up out Outpost 3, which then, but before that we could see them crawl out of the like the rubble. So cool. It looks like they buried themselves in like the Louisiana swamp, which kept them restored. Misty Days swamp, the swamp coven, low-key, like the school was nice and all, but like that swamp, things happened in that swamp that like needed to happen. We should have moved the coven to the swamp, just saying. So we're basically recapping like a previously on American Horror Story, and then we are caught up to our current storyline. Langdon is back to his beautiful long hair, being that posh evil boy, but now that feels different. As much as I complained about the order of this season, I really like that now we got to see that he's been a scared little boy this whole time, and Cordelia lets him know that, like, he's this big bad Billy badass, but, even so much as so as offering Cordelia and all of them, like, a seat at the table, like, I'll let you go. Now we're back into the present day with, now knowing all this, like I said, and she's just like, no, the only seat I want is a table with your head on it. Like, give that to me. Oh, heads exploding, heads on tables. We'll talk about that. So basically, Dinah shades Cordelia and is just like, oh yeah, I did all of this. You think I'm teaming with you? And she's like, I don't think you're teaming with me. Like, that's why I brought Marie Laveau back from Papa Legba. Yes, I had a whole different theory. I thought for a while that they were going to send Marie Laveau back in time, snatch up baby Michael, and give it to Papa Legba. Like, here, eat Satan's child. You'll need that. But no, that's not what happened. But Marie comes back, kills Dinah, and that's why I'm like, everything's going according to plan. Cordelia blows up Miss Mead. Like, I was like, yo, where was that spell earlier? But fine, cool. She blows up Miss Mead. Madison shoots and kills for like a second, kills Langdon. And I'm like, Madison, oh god, what's happening? As soon as she killed and shot Langdon and they snatched his hair, I was like, okay, I think we're doing what we should be doing. Oh no. And then we hit a harsh turn when Brock, out of nowhere, remember Brock, he was dating Coco, we saw him for like 2 seconds in this episode, it's Billie Eichner's other character, comes back and kills Mallory, stabs her. What? Like, what? The plan was ruined at that moment. Okay, so things were getting crazy and things got nuts so insane. Brock kills Mallory, Myrtle's like, you ruined everything, and poof. I was been watching this with my stepbrother who has not seen Coven and Murder House. I know that's odd for someone to not have seen them but see this. He still enjoyed the season, but he was like, I haven't got to like really see Myrtle like flex, and Myrtle flexed in this episode, burns up Brock, and Brock falls to the ground, and that's when I'm like, oh my god. Langdon wakes up, and I'm like, oh, here we go with everything going crazy. So what the hell just happened? Langdon wakes up. Madison's like, I got this. She turns around and says, this is better than retail, and gets her head blown up. Blows up her head. So like Marie tries to face off with Langdon and is just like, I got you, here's some voodoo. I'm the head bitch in charge, HBIC. Yeah, she is for a second until he like goes through her like barrier spell and like rips out her heart. And I'm like, okay, fine, eats her heart. Okay, even crazier. Okay, and then he just twists Coco's neck around. See, other prediction. Remember how I told you I thought like Marie Laveau was gonna like send the baby back or like send the baby to Papa Legba? I also thought Coco was gonna play like a part. I thought they were like, oh, look how, the calorie counter. Oh, she's so weak. I thought she was gonna be useful. No, Langdon kills her. That was some hot fire. This whole, like, as much as I'm like, this was nuts, it was also kind of like cool to see, and it was a lot happening, but this appears to be like the moment everything goes. Like, Myrtle looks at Cordelia and goes, "It appears we are fucked, my dear." And I'm like, "Oh, you are." And then Cordelia's like, "But you're not." But we're not. So Cordelia faces off with Langdon and basically kills him with the power of shade. That's what I got from that. Like, she used all of the shade, all of her supreme shade to kill him, but she doesn't. She kills herself, which gives all of the power to Mallory. She's like, Satan has one son, but my sisters are legion, which is like a fun shout out to, I know it's like a term, but it's also a fun shout out to FX, which also has legion on it. A awesome X-Men show that's really weird. Check that one out as well. But she's like, we are legion, we are one. Bam! Kills herself, gives her power to Mallory. And this is when the episode's like, at a point, I have thoughts and feelings about the end of this episode. I like how I made the tea joke earlier, and this is just filled with Coca-Cola, because I don't drink tea, and I'm a weird fatty. So the second Mallory goes back in time, we jump back to Murder House. Yes, we are at the return to Murder House. Like, didn't think this would happen, but all this did was give me another Jessica Lange scene. Oh god, okay, so we remember the scene in the Return to Murder House where she walks in on Michael that he had just killed the priest, and she's like, "Okay, you're useless now. You are now just a stone cold murderer. What am I gonna do with you? What is the point?" So she just tears into him. Like, Constant just goes, "You are a waste of time." Like, I thought this was a phase, which, girl, if you start murdering animals and or people, it's not a phase. It's not like a hot topic like I just started painting my nails and I like Marilyn Manson. That's a phase. But like, killing things is a serial killer. Constance, we'll talk about that. But like, no, for the most part, what this showed me was he was weak. And Cordelia says that actually as she's shading him to death, basically, she's just like, "You have been brought up by Mead. You've been brought up by your Satan daddy. Been brought up by the Warlocks. You're nothing, though." And that's what the Constance gives him. She's like, "You're just a kid. I'm gonna test you." He has her like, "I'm gonna choke you." And she's like, "Bitch, do it. Put me out of my misery dealing with you." This is Jessica Lange acting. I mean, everyone does so great in this episode. I loved seeing Sarah Paulson's Venable for 2 seconds, Sarah Paulson's Cordelia, her exit, Madison Montgomery, Emma Roberts gave me a full arc. But Constance, Jessica Lange, in this little bit of a scene gives me everything. So she kicks Michael out. She says, "Bye, leave." He leaves, goes out to the street, and Mallory just hits him. That's how we fix Coven. That's how we fix Apocalypse. How the season ends, kind of. We'll get to the end. How the season ends, basically, and how things are fixed, is Mallory just running over Langdon 1,000 times. Like, she just goes, boop, 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 and looks at Constance and's like, "I did you a favor." And Constance is like, "My baby, wait, no, go to hell." I love that. That was I don't love it. Real. I like that. I thought it was an enjoyable thing. It was a weird thing to see this whole season built up and a car crash stops it, but it doesn't. So the butterfly effect basically happens. Now Mallory has saved our current storyline. There is no apocalypse, no nukes. As she says, there's no need to bring Myrtle back. So she goes and meets Cordelia for the first time. There's no Myrtle. Zoe is still alive. And what I liked out of all of this is she stopped Queenie from going to the Hotel Cortez. Queenie's like, "Oh, I've just got these tickets for The Price is Right. I'm gonna go." And she's like, "Stay somewhere else," which saved Queenie's life, which furthers the butterfly effect, which maybe might be the ending. So she talks about this as well. Like, she's like, "Okay, so Myrtle didn't get to come back, which is sad, but we got a lot of Myrtle. Zoe's alive. Queenie's gonna stay alive. She'll get Madison out of hell, but she said, I'm gonna let her suffer a little bit." Poor Madison. Madison, like, died a hero, and we gotta let her suffer at the end? Okay. So then we have Nan bringing back Misty. Basically, Mallory's like, "Yo, people owe me favors. I saved the world. I got favors from the higher-ups. They give me Misty Day back." We got a little bit of more Nan again. So I got Jessica Lange again. I got the actress who plays Nan. I got Lily Rabe as Misty Day again. I got a lot in this episode, and then we get to, like, the final segment, And I got characters that I didn't know I needed. Truly, I didn't need them. Yes, this episode ends with Timothy and Emily. Hey, you remember them? They died randomly in the Outpost 3? Sure, so we see them meet. Oh, 2020, then a year later we jump. They're having a baby. Oh, as soon as they started meeting, I was like, oh, they're giving birth to the Antichrist. That's why we saw them. Oh, God. Oh, well, okay, 1 year later, we see the baby. I thought it was going to end there. Maybe, like, Papa Legba, Marie Laveau's going to be like, hey, can I get that baby? No. Okay, time jump to 3 years later, and I'm like, oh, boy. Oh, boy. Timothy and Emily come home from whatever they were doing. I don't care about them. They come home to their baby, killing the babysitter, like the ending of Season 1. Horror Story fans, were you expecting this? Is this the ending you thought? Because if you would have told me that Timothy and Emily, these two characters we saw in the beginning of the season that kind of meant nothing, would end up being the ending scene where they give birth to Satan baby and restarting this whole cycle, which I think is a cool thing of like, you can't avoid the apocalypse, you could delay it. But like, when it's time to go, it's time to go. And that's what this showed me. But I would have never guessed this ending, this kind of way of it. Because it closes with, they go to their house, the baby killed the babysitter, and the satanic church shows up. And it ends with Kathy Bates' face. Miss Mead is like, I didn't get to do it in that other timeline, but I'm going to do it in this. What the literal hell? This an ending. I'm still processing this, and that's why I wanted to make this so soon, because I'm still trying to process this insane ending. Yes, Apocalypse is done, but what does this mean? Are we gonna get a season 2 of Apocalypse? Like, usually they only do like one-off seasons, these crossovers every now and then, but there is still a lot more story to tell. All of the characters I met this season were amazing. I want to stay with Mallory. I want to see more of Langdon. I liked this season. So what does this ending mean? Is this just going to kind of be brushed off into another Murder House, Apocalypse, Coven, Roanoke Hotel crossover in another 4 years? What the actual hell? I don't know. I am still flabbergasted, but that's why I wanted to make this so soon, so you could have got my real organic feelings. Again, if you've been watching my videos, sorry for this dramatic change of like venue, but like I had to talk about this with you guys ASAP. I did this for you because, oh my god, what the actual hell. Alright guys, that was it. Thank you so much for joining me for this wild ride. This has been quite the adventure. American Horror Story Apocalypse physically drained me. Like, I couldn't even go film this where I normally do life stuff, but also because like I just had to talk about this. Thank you so much for joining me. If you subscribe to my channel for American Horror Story, that means the world to me. I promise I will not let you down. We'll be talking about Murder House soon. Let me take a little bit of a break to regroup, so comment down below, what were your thoughts of this episode? What were your thoughts of this season? Are you excited for me to talk about Murder House? Let me know down in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy this video. I am so excited to talk about this again with you guys. Thank you again. My name's EJ Marino, and we will be talking more soon. See you guys later.